podcast so they can try things. You're invited to this podcast so that you can try things. Now we will stop singing so that we can all now try this.
Hello and welcome to Now Try This, the podcast where two best friends get together every week to try this. And Nick, what is this?
Marcus, this is a podcast. I'm sorry. I'm distracted by your setup. You're so bright. Why are you so
That's what I'm saying. I'm so much brighter than I normally am.
Marcus,
I have maybe my settings on my camera might be like the white balance is bad or something, but my
Marcus,
lights
if you
aren't
wanna-
even facing me. My lights are
Marcus,
facing
if
the
you-
wall.
If you want to look like you came out of heaven just like J.Lo in this movie, you go for it. Guys, this is Now Try This podcast where two best friends try shit. What does that mean? That means me, Nick, that guy, Marcus, we try shit. And every week we challenge each other to try our favorite thing. And some weeks you guys are involved. That's right. There's a Patreon. Patreon.com/NowTryThisCast. You can go ahead and submit your challenges. And every month, just $1 gets you the chance to vote on those things. We're getting close to deciding what's going to be next month. Guys can get involved. Patreon.com/NowTryThisCast. But when it's not Patreon, we decide, which means this week was my turn to challenge Marcus. But last week we did Spy X Family. Marcus, what's Spy X Family?
Nick, Spy X Family is an anime that is on Crunchyroll and other places you can watch anime. And it's about a family who has to undergo a mission where they have to pretend to be a family. And in pretending to be a family, they fall in love with each other and they become a real family.
That is right. Now, next week, we would love to tell you what we're doing, but we don't know yet because it will be a Patreon month. The beginning of the month is Patreon week, so you guys will see what we're doing soon.
Yeah, so if you go over to Patreon right now, whenever this episode ends up, I'm assuming you can vote. You can sign up for the $1 tier or the $5 tier. And right now, as I speak, if you're watching the stream, the poll is about to go up after this episode. So
Nice.
You'll be able to vote.
But against all that hoopla, today was my challenge. And Marcus, I gave you Maid in Manhattan.
I feel like this
Oof.
one has been coming. Like, I know that it's up there for you. It's not your favorite movie, but I know that I don't know if it's important either. I feel like you like it a lot, though.
Here's the thing. I view Maid in Manhattan as the quintessential J.Lo rom-com of the early 2000s. It just encapsulates like the mood of the era. There are so many rom-coms from the early 2000s. A lot of them star J.Lo, and it is just so quintessential that time. And I love J.Lo. I mean, and I think I love J.Lo like as a person, but all her other movies aren't as, they're just dumber, Marcus. They're just dumber. I love them. I love them a lot.
Selena?
But like,
I'm sorry, Nick. Oh, excuse me. Give me your Hispanic card for a second.
Did you
and
just
I'll
say
hold on to it.
Selena? Did you just say Selena? You asking for? You can't ask for my. You can't ask for my Puerto Rican card and then say
Give me your Puerto Rican card for Selena.
That's Selena. That's
Selena.
Selena. Marcus, I know, but I'm talking about rom-coms though. Selena catapulted her into stardom.
Sure.
That's not a rom-com. That's
It's
a
not a
biopic. We love it.
rom-com.
And I know you've seen it, and it's a fantastic movie.
I was telling Daron, I was like, look, I don't know how to tell you this, but when we have a child, they have to watch Selena. Selena. Now you have to be self-conscious. How to say
Selena.
it? Selena.
Selena.
It's not is it an A?
It's Selena. Yeah, it's E. Selena.
My God, I know this, but you have me
Selena.
questioning my reality.
That's because the first time you said it wrong.
It's Selena.
Selena. Selena.
You're saying
Selena.
SA. The way you're sounding.
You
is
said Selena. Selena.
Selena.
I'm saying it right. Everyone who's listening
Oh my
is like,
God.
Nick is correct. Who the hell is Marcus? But anyway,
Selena. It's Selena. It says it on Wikipedia.
Selena. But that's how the
Whatever.
guys say it when they hit them with the car or the bus. There's that one scene. It's like, it's okay, you got us hit. We got hit by Selena. So that's how it is always in my head. Marcus, it's not the most important one. And then there's also ones that like made her like known to be like a great actress, like Enough. I know you know what Enough is, right? Quintessential. No, that movie Enough, where she like had an abusive husband and she went and like trained and then beat him up. Yeah, exactly. Everyone knows some of these, but then there's just a whole slew of J.Lo movies that are J.Lo movies. And this is what I think the most wholesome one compared to some of the other ones, because some of them are awful.
For some reason, I thought Maid in Manhattan was a quintessential J.Lo movie. Like, I don't know why. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's because I grew up in New York City. But like,
it is
J.Lo. Is it? Because it has a bad score on Rotten Tomatoes. I feel like a lot of people I know haven't seen this movie.
Marcus, something that I've learned from the research I've done for this movie, which wasn't a lot, is most J.Lo's movies have a bad Rotten score.
Wow. Okay.
Most of them do. But I do know that I literally just watched 2 essays while I was preparing the game for today about rom-coms, and just general rom-coms, and Maid in Manhattan was a clip in all of them. So like it is in the echelon of like, no one thinks it's great, but it's just so quintessentially cheesy rom-com fodder.
Yeah.
Because Marcus, there's a lot to talk about, but there's nothing in this movie except the rom of the com. Like, that's it. Wow, there's a lot of other rom-coms that like say something and do something, and this is just like such quintessential of the time.
This movie says stuff and does stuff.
Well, Marcus, I'm excited for you to get into it and have to defend my favorite movie. But before we do that, Marcus, have you been trying anything new? Anything going on lately in your world?
I mean, this isn't really a big deal, but for the first time in a long time, I ran 3 miles. Which,
good.
Which is like, I've been going back on track on the training for marathons and stuff like that. I haven't run in a long time. I've unfortunately gained some weight, and I'm back at it, back going to the gym, and it's been nice. It caused me incredible pain, but I'm gonna work through it and hopefully work my way up again.
You're doing great. We love you for it.
What about you? Have you tried anything new?
No, but Marcus, I want to tell you a story. So yesterday I hosted an improv workshop for a corporate client. It was like 35 people. Crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. They were having the time of their lives, showed them the silly improv games. They acted like I was like showing them like fucking a TED Talk. It was fucking amazing. It was great. Afterwards, I realized that the tip system I have at work is ridiculous, because we will get a tip after the fact, and I have to split it with the 2 other people that were there at the event with me. One person set up a table and put us some chairs and took video during the event, and then took those chairs and tables down. And then the other person got the platter for the catering and put it out and then cleaned it up after. And I have to split my tip 3 ways when the whole event, the whole thing is me. Wow. I'm the whole thing. I'm in an empty room with 35 of these people they were all account managers from this really big company. I don't want to name the company, but the prince that moved here, that's not a prince no more with Megan. Which prince is that? I don't know. It's a part of the board. It's like a big company. It's a big company. And I was with all the account, like, it's a fucking, and it was all me. And I'm like, I gotta fucking share this fucking fuck.
Wow.
I was mad about it. I'm mad
sorry.
about it. Just wanted to share because I'm mad.
That's what capitalism does. It makes you competitive to other people that you don't need to be competing with. You should be sharing.
You're right. I'm not being competitive because I did everything. I did the whole thing. You're right. I shouldn't be competitive against these people. They should know that the event doesn't exist without me. I should be paid for my time better. I need a raise. That's really the long and the short of it. But Marcus, as I get into my service industry headspace, let's get into the headspace of a maid that happens to work in Manhattan. Now, Marcus,
how do you say? Can you say Manhattan again?
Manhattan.
I say Manhattan.
I
feel like I didn't know the difference until I went to Fredonia at the college where I met you, and everyone started correcting me.
Well, hold on.
Manhattan.
Let me say it how I say it, and then the Maid in Manhattan. Manhattan. Yeah. Am I saying different than you? I'm saying the same as you.
No, I think you say it the same as me.
How do they say it?
Manhattan. The hard
Manhattan?
T. Manhattan. No one says Manhattan.
Manhattan. We're also Hispanic, so we don't pronounce T's like that. Manhattan. Okay, I'm done. I am a maid in Manhattan. Marcus, before we get I get into why I give you this movie, what did you know? I know you haven't seen this one because I know you haven't seen most rom-coms. They weren't
Yeah.
in your house growing up
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. But like, I know you knew this one existed before me, right? Like,
Oh,
it must
100%.
have.
I feel like J.Lo. Okay, so being Hispanic, I think
You're from the block.
you're
from the block.
We are
You
all
are from the block.
exposed. We are exposed to J.Lo. But I specifically am a Hispanic from the Bronx, which is where J.Lo is from. Like you said,
You mean
I
from the
am
block?
from the block. I lived like 2 blocks from where she grew up.
Oh, really? Look at that.
Yes. Yes, at least for a little bit. And my mom had a deep-seated hatred of J.Lo because she
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, J.Lo was fake. Her parents had money. She's trying to pretend like she was from the block. They owned a house. And my mom, for some reason, made it her own personal vendetta to like dislike J.Lo because they grew up
Because
in
she
the
was
same
middle
neighborhood.
class.
Because she was slightly above poor.
She was lower middle class and you were lower class. And she was like, how dare she pretend she's poor? We're poor.
100%.
She's not poor.
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
It was like the food stamps and then like just barely being able to afford food where you like don't need food stamps. That's the difference that my mom is
Yeah.
fighting over.
That's so dumb.
She's gonna listen to this episode. She's gonna be mad, but I love you, Mom.
Well, that's so funny because my mom is fucking obsessed with J.Lo. I feel like us being not from New York, that magicalness of New York and that like Jenny from the Block thing, like really, like it wasn't for you guys in the city. It was for people like us, the Hispanics not in the city. It was like, wow, glamorous. She got it hard. And then she did it. You know what I mean?
I mean, it was also
And
for us because I feel like if you're being from the block. Okay, Old Man Rom asks, what exactly is the block? How you defined it, not just geographical. So the block is the Bronx. Specifically, I think the Castle Hill area of the Bronx is the block, but also the block is a metaphor for being from poverty and coming from the projects in a bad area. And being able to overcome that.
That's right. Yeah, but for whatever reason, my mother bought J.Lo movies, she bought Julia Roberts movies, and she bought Denzel movies. So those were the movies I had in my home. That was it. That was all of them. That was all the movies she bought. She did not buy any other movies.
She's only a couple of years younger than my mom, which is so weird to think. J.Lo's a couple of years younger than my mom.
Oh, sure. I was having that same realization that J.Lo is the same age as my mom.
That's crazy.
I think she's also 2-3 years.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, 2-3 years younger. Than my mom, but not a lot. They could have been friends in high school or something. I bet pretty close, which is wild.
Okay,
but
Castle Hill, specifically the block for Old Man Rom and those others listening is Castle Hill, and that is where my mom also grew up, and that is where I lived for some time. It's
your mom's mad she didn't get out of the block.
Area. It's a bad area. I will attest to that. It is
and since
bad.
That's so funny. So that probably means J.Lo like was there for a minute, but then her like parents got out.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, she doesn't live there now, so I'm assuming she got out.
No. I know, but like you're saying, your mom's mad at her for probably having a little more money. They probably got out at some point.
Maybe.
Like what it was, which is just so silly. Anyway, so Maid in Manhattan. Again, it's just one of those movies that was just around growing up with the Julia Roberts movies. I probably, honestly, the J.Lo movie that I saw the most was probably Enough. Enough is a good movie. You know what? I haven't watched it in years. It might not be.
It's not a good movie. I can't imagine it's a good movie. That's just a Lifetime movie with a bigger budget.
No, we'll watch that one too. It actually came out the same year this did. So... But I didn't want to give you that one to you because I don't know. It's easy to root. It's just like I don't know. I didn't want to talk about domestic violence today. It's mostly why we will someday.
I appreciate that.
I wanted to talk about something silly and fun. That's Maid in Manhattan. And I honestly, the one other rom-com that is more popular than Maid in Manhattan is The Wedding Planner. I would say The Wedding Planner is like,
I've never seen
which
that
came
one.
out I think the year before that, and that is Matthew McConaughey. He's in every rom-com.
Yeah.
It was right before this one, but that movie doesn't make any sense because J.Lo plans Matthew McConaughey's wedding, and then he leaves his wife for J.Lo, who is the planner of the wedding. And it's just like
I knew that actually.
And the movie does an okay job of like, oh, they're not right for each other, and there's no cheating, but it's still like cheating. You know, it's like
it's 100% cheating.
It's emotional cheating. It's such emotional.
A lot of rom-coms will do that. right? Like a lot of rom-coms would be like, these two people are in a relationship. Oh, but this person doesn't like Christmas. So obviously they're a bad person and deserve to be cheated
That's
on.
what exactly. Yeah. Darren, no, they don't get married. They call off the wedding. I think the final act right at the end, and then I think Matthew McConaughey brings J.Lo some brown M&Ms, and
Because
that's
she's
how
brown.
yeah.
Oh no, old
you know
man
how
Rom
every
doesn't like
rom-com
Christmas. He's not going to get married. I'm
oh,
sorry.
Old man Rom. That means J.Lo would leave you. That's that's the moral of that story. No, you know how every rom-com has like one stupid joke that's never good, but they hinge the whole like conceit of something on there.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure what it is.
Yeah,
in this
it's like,
movie.
oh
The fact
wow,
that-
Nick, you only eat brown M&Ms because you're
and then
brown.
J.Lo's rationale is like, well, it must have less chemicals in them because it's trying not to be a different color. Right.
Okay.
So if we watched Wedding Planner, we would have just been ragging on it the whole time.
100%.
Whereas I think this is at least a wholesome movie.
Sure.
In hindsight, I haven't watched it in years. There are a lot of it's a 2002 rom-com, but
I'm so interested to see what your take is on it as a rewatcher, who's someone who hasn't seen it in so long, because I have opinions on it, but I've never seen the movie before, so it's just like it's all fresh to me.
I will say, let's start with some good stuff, because as soon as the movie started, the movie starts with you see Marissa Ventura, J.Lo, with her 10-year-old son Ty, single mom in Manhattan. And as the mom
you see them in the Bronx. The movie starts off in the Bronx.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because specifically as soon as the opening of the movie happened, I was like, holy shit, I know that area. That's the Bronx. And then it kept going, and I was like, oh my God, I know that school. I could exactly place the school. I can place the train tracks
that's
and
cool.
the staircase that they took a shot in front of. I like have a map of the Bronx in my brain, and I'm like, I know how to get to those places.
That's really cool. That's really cool when you see that kind of shit. That's why Die Hard with a Vengeance was so cool.
Yeah.
But as this was happening, as the single mom was taking care of the son and taking him around, at the very beginning of the movie, I almost cried.
At the beginning of the movie?
On the
rewatch?
Yep. Right. Well, it's been maybe 8 years since I've watched this movie at least, right? And as I was sitting there in the very beginning, and just the mom who's in her 30s, and the kid who's like 10-ish, and I'm just like, single mom. And I just remember my mom taking me to the Boys and Girls Club when she was at work, and like taking me here, and like leaving me with someone at the desk, and like doing this and doing single mom things.
Yep.
Listen. Say what you want about rom-coms. Say what you want about J.Lo.
Preach.
You could not think she's an good actress. You can not find her attractive. You can have opinions about any of that stuff. But when she is like being sincere as a person on a movie, I'm just like, you're his mom.
This fucking rom-com being about a Hispanic single mother trying to find love, like fucking let's go. Like I can't name that many other rom-coms with that same plot. Even fucking rom-coms with white single moms.
That's this level.
Like
this level.
I can't I can't name like any. Granted, I don't know that many rom-coms. There could be a bunch that I'm not thinking about. But like the fact that you have a Hispanic mom who's trying to find love, and she's hardworking, and she's trying to balance this life, like that was so awesome to see. And I was telling Daron the same thing. Like later on, when you see Ty at work with her waiting at the desk, I was like, oh my God, like so many times
friend and this friend.
My mom had to take me to work after school because there wasn't anybody else to watch us. So me and my brother, she was a nurse. So me and my brother would just sit in one of the empty rooms in the doctor's office and like just wait or take a nap or do our homework or whatever, or wait in the lunchroom in the nurse's office. And she kept getting in trouble because they weren't supposed to have kids around, and people kept bringing their kids to work. But
Marcus,
it's what you got to do as a single mom.
How hard do you think it hit during those moments? One of the moments, Ty was playing with Bionicles.
Oh my God! Oh, Nick, hold on. Oh, wait, we gotta talk about this for a second, because the second the movie starts, they like show Ty's room when he's getting ready in the morning, and I saw a big picture of Bionicles. And for those of you who don't know, Nick,
I missed that.
Nick is a Bionicle boy, and I just cannot. I saw all of this, and I was like, did Nick watch this as a kid, and this was like a subconscious thing where he like started loving Bionicles because of this movie? Like,
No, because he has a second generation Bionicle that he's playing with, and I was there from the first generation.
Okay. I was wondering if this movie was connected because this movie is Bionicle propaganda. And for those of you who don't know what
Maybe.
Bionicles are, including myself, Nick, what's a Bionicle?
So in the early 2000s, Lego was about to go under. They were like, this isn't working. We're failing. Let's make a last ditch effort. So they created this whole lore dump of honestly culturally insensitive, like kind of like African and Polynesian like lore dump kind of thing
Mm-hmm.
with these heroes that washed up on shore on this island to like defeat the ultimate evil, and it was the perfect like X-Men-y kind of thing where there was 6 of them. They all had one could fly, one could swim, one could fucking had a fire sword. You know, they're each an element. They each had their own personality. And Lego magazine came out with a free comic book at the same time they released them, and they had 6 of them. You had to get each 6 canisters to get all 6, and then they would release enemies, and then every new wave there'd be 6 more of this 6 enemy and this 6 new version of them, and they all had these masks, right? And you had to collect the mask. So in the comic book, they had to each get all of the masks until they can get the golden mask, and then you would have to buy all the masks so you can have all the masks for them all. And yeah,
That's amazing.
I could go on.
I love because those powers aren't balanced. Having a fire sword, being able to swim, and being able to fly. Those are not in the same like power set of
Marcus, I remember.
powers.
So here, let me tell you what they all were. One of them could fly. One of them could swim.
Like
one of them could.
Like,
one of them. Hold on.
Swim?
One
Do you
of
mean
them,
like Aquaman swim forever, breathe
yeah,
underwater?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of them could kick a rock, and one of them had claws.
What do you mean kick a rock?
Well, the Bionicle specifically had a wheel thing where he was the only one that could kick. And one of those little lever things, and he went like, dook, dook,
Okay.
dook. One of them had a fire sword,
Uh-huh.
and one of them had claws.
Wow, this is fascinating.
Oh, and the white one had a shield and a sword, but I think his mask could
Sounds
let him like
pretty
see
good.
through things. I think he could see through things. his
Got
mask.
it.
Each
Okay.
mask had a power.
Oh,
And
okay.
And once they got the other mask, they had those powers too. And then
Got
once
it.
you got all 6 masks, you got the golden mask.
So the guy could kick, but he also had a power that wasn't kicking.
Marcus, don't.
Okay,
yeah.
well, we can move on. But this movie, I was wondering if they were like sponsored by Bionicle or something like that because he's playing with Bionicles.
Toa. It was just of the time, dude. This
Crazy.
is what children of single moms did.
This missed
We played with
Bionicles missed
Bionicles.
me entirely. I ended up on Bionicle TikTok
I'm sorry.
recently,
Yeah, no,
and I was like, what the fuck?
One of them's like super strength, one of them's like super speed, and yada yada. Yeah, they had good powers.
I didn't even
That's
know
right.
about this. You were the first person to tell me about Bionicles, and then
Dude, they were going on for the problem with Bionicles is it's not like I can give it to you a challenge because you just like watch a movie.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll watch the movie. There is a wee movie, but there's like 3 or 4. But it was a toy thing first. So you had to like find the lore with like inside of the instructions and in the comics and in commercials and in the movies and in this weird online web video game. So it's this weird hodgepodge. It's not like
Yeah.
I can make you go watch one thing and play with the toy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
anyway.
yeah, I was too busy having sex. I'm sorry.
So it was really nice, and I almost cried watching the interactions between J.Lo and a young teen wolf. That little boy was Teen Wolf.
Yeah. I knew that.
But he was great. I love their chemistry. I'm one of my favorite parts about the movie is the first 10 minutes or so is just about the two of them setting up their relationship. And you know what's it's weird about this movie, and I'm gonna skip ahead for just a second, is at no point does it feel like she is less than or it is a problem that she's a mom.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it is a problem she's a maid. There is a class thing going on, but at no point is it like, oh, you have a kid? Like the love interest, like, I like your kid. And like
Yeah.
nobody is like, you can't do that. You have a kid. Like
Yeah.
it's I feel like, listen, this movie
Well,
does a lot
I
of things
mean,
wrong. But like
I think
Go ahead.
I think there's also not a problem with her being a maid either. You know, I think
Well,
that
no,
there's
no,
a class thing, and the other characters have a problem with it. But also, she's struggling with being a mom
Sure.
as well. Like she had to cover for the dad because he couldn't be there, so she has to rush. It does interfere with her life in some capacity.
Well, I just mean as in the movie, does take, it's like, oh, you thought being a maid is bad? It's not bad. See? It's like it's in your face that it's like doing that message, but there's not, I don't feel like that message is there for the mom thing. It just is. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like she
Okay.
just is a mom and they all accept it and you live with it. At no point, like even like the political guy, it's always about the maid. It's never like she's a single mom. She's got a kid. You know, it's never like
They
that.
do say
Which-
that. I feel like they literally say that.
Did they?
Yeah, the guy Stanley Tucci was like.
Well, Stanley Tucci's just a dick. He says everything.
I mean,
But
he
I mean,
was the
everyone
main one that was opposed to their relationship.
You're right. Okay, well, whatever. I like the mom bit. it hit home.
I think
for me.
that's true. I
hit
think
home.
that is true. I think the mom thing definitely hit home more.
So then in the movie, it does the quintessential, she's a badass, right? In her circumstance. She knows everyone loves her. She knows how to do all the tips and tricks real nice. She's good at her
She's
job.
cool. She's
Love that.
intelligent. She's capable, and she's
Love
a good
that.
mom, which is important.
What did you, so just to get into it, what did you think about Ty's obsession with Richard Nixon?
Okay, so there's this whole like political aspect of the movie where like
Yeah, we got to talk about it. It's hard.
Republican, the guy that she's in love with, and he's running for some kind of office,
Senate,
and Ty is this like weird little boy who's obsessed with history. Now he's not pro Richard Nixon, right? Like in the beginning, he even says, "Oh, you're a liar." He's like, "Oh, you're Republican." Like Richard Nixon. So does that also make you a liar? And it was funny, and it was a cute interaction.
He's a history buff. Yeah,
and I like that the kid's a history buff.
Yeah, I like it too.
He reads different history books that they reference later on. Henry Kissinger, I think, was the book that he was reading. So I like that personality trait. I thought it was cute.
Yeah. Even there was even one point where the mom was reading a book about how to parent gifted children. So it was cool.
Yeah.
It was just a nice little like that, he was, and she didn't know what to do with it, right? Like I also feel like there were times where my mom didn't know how to relate to me and what I was interested in because she was like, that wasn't me. I didn't like school. I didn't. And she's like, I don't
what a douche move to be reading how to parent gifted children on like public transportation. It's not a douche move, but it is like I would carry that book no matter how stupid my child is. I'll be reading it in public all the time.
I love that. That's your
I'm gonna sit on the train on the bus like how to walk around with a big dick as my book that I'm reading.
But Marcus, I think my biggest blind spot for remembering this movie was the fact that he was Republican. And I was sitting there, and when the first time they said it, I was like, wait, what? Because I remembered he was rich. I remembered he was rich, and then it said politics, and I was like, oh, okay, must be a state assembly. But they like flat out are like, he is Republican. Like they could have made it ambiguous. They could have not said it. But they and then I was like,
made an effort to say.
And then
he
I
was
tried to
Republican.
remember for a second. I was like, oh, is this like Clinton era? So it was like, but I was like, no, 2002.
Yeah, it's Bush.
We got Bush. We got Bush.
Yeah, it was
and this
Bush
is also after 9/11.
Doing war crimes.
Actively doing war crimes. George W. Bush, Republican, running for the Senate. And I was just like, to be fair, the stance I have on politics now is nowhere near what I had when I was 12.
I would hope
12.
So.
At 12, I was just like, oh, yeah. No, I remember, you know what? I'm almost embarrassed to say it, but I'm going to. This is why I hate media so much, because I know it influenced me as a kid. Because I remember in 2004, when Bush was running again, and he was running against John Kerry.
Yeah.
I remember having a conversation with my mom, and I remember using the words that John Kerry was a flip-flopper.
I remember that, yeah, because that was the narrative that they were really pushing.
Yeah,
flip-flopping on everything. Yeah.
And this is why people usually incumbents like keep winning, because it's like, well, because at my 14-year-old self, I was like, well, we're in the middle of a war, and he started the war, so it doesn't make sense to change right now. Like, somebody to come in, they don't know what's going on. Like, I don't like Bush, I don't like Republicans, but might as well as opposed to now where I'm like, dude was a war criminal.
100%. The problem is that you were 14 and you're thinking things that grown adult voters think today. That's really also the main problem of what's going on right now.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So the fact that, and where I'm at now, where I'm so far to the left, the fact that he's a Republican, I'm just like, what?
I know. It was off-putting. I was like, how is J.Lo like really dating him? How is this making any sense that they would be together?
And I wish they pushed it a little more, because it almost implies that J.Lo is like pushing him to be more liberal.
Yeah,
Right?
at one point they're like, he's gonna go give a talk at like the projects in the Bronx.
Yeah.
And she's like, what do you know about living there? I grew up there. Like, but that's it. That's all we get in the movie of that
Yeah.
like confrontation.
Yeah, there was like one more, but like, yeah, there were just little
Mm-hmm.
asides that, but were also just used for their banter of to say
Yes.
like they have oh, there's a tete-a-tete here. That's when it was used. So it wasn't interested in the political thing. So in my head, my narrative in my head at the end of the movie, when it's showing pictures of them together, I'm like, okay, either one or two things happened. Either one, he is now so far left, he's no longer
Yeah.
a Republican and he
Yeah,
switched
yeah.
because of J.Lo, or J.Lo's one of those brown Republican wives who's like, everything my husband is doing is wrong, but
gonna say
I'm
that.
good, so we're good.
And not even that. I was gonna say, like, growing up in the Bronx around other Hispanics, I'm Hispanic. There are these Hispanics who have the mentality of like, close the borders behind me, please.
Oh, that's not
You know?
some, that's a lot.
There's a lot that think that way.
Yeah.
And so
The Hispanic vote was split this last cycle.
it's a lot of
It was
Republican,
split.
yeah, a lot of Republican
It's
Hispanics. So that's what I was
half,
telling.
It's
That's
wild.
what I was saying during the movie. I was like, okay, there's like, just because she's Hispanic doesn't mean she's Democrat. Like, there's a chance that she might be Republican.
I think she
also.
might be. I think she might be. I don't know.
I don't know.
The other thing was the literacy, right? It was literacy for children. He instead of doing the $2,500 a plate
Oh,
dinner.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
it was. Yeah.
That
But
was
and
the other
like,
time.
but a Republican could still say that and still be Republican, right? Like there are some there are a couple
Technically.
Republicans who try to do a thing or two that's a little populist or a thing or two that's like a little liberal and think they're good forever.
Oh, for sure.
Like it happens all the time.
Yeah,
like
no.
Josh Hawley. Remember when Josh Hawley was the one? He was the one Republican with Bernie Sanders. Like we should get checks again, right? Super popular, super correct. We needed checks. We needed help. He was on the side with Bernie Sanders. Him and Bernie Sanders were the two people in the Senate pushing that legislation. Wildly correct. But if you look at Josh Hawley, he's real fucking Republican. He's real fucking Republican.
Yeah, maybe he's like, you know what? Maybe we should help more people.
Oh, I'm sorry. What health insurance company? Yeah, no Medicare for all. I need
No.
I'm getting yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what is that?
Relationship's
Yeah,
not going to
well,
work
you know.
long term. Unless she's
Yeah.
so blinded by the money and she truly does forget where she came from. Like, I don't know.
It's wild because that is honestly, that was the one thing in the movie where I was like, this could not be made today. That they would either change the narrative completely and he was just a rich guy,
Yeah.
or they would have to make him like a Democrat, but like be a little corporatist.
Well, there was a movie recently with Seth
Rogen.
Rogen, yes, which was a long way down or something like that.
The long shot.
Long Shot. There you go. Long Shot.
Honestly, great movie.
It's a good movie, but it was similar, not similar, but it was a guy falling in
Yeah.
love with a politician.
Yeah. Wow. Actually, yeah. And that one really worked because I
Mhm.
feel like it affected her politics.
Yes, exactly.
It addressed it.
Yeah.
It addressed it.
So if we would have seen some of that more in the movie, I think it would have worked a little better.
And Seth Rogen's almost the maid in that movie. Like, so it totally works.
I do. I mean, I like the chemistry between these two characters in Maid in Manhattan is good. Like, I do genuinely believe that these characters love each other and they care about each other a lot. But it's just like when you think about the relationship long term after the movie's over, you're like, okay, how many times does he accidentally say something racist? Like, how many times does he have like this weird opinion on something that's like,
how many
doesn't make any
times does he
sense?
go on the Senate vote and he actively votes against J.Lo's people?
100%.
But I'll be a brown and poor.
Yeah. Or
Right.
or does he suddenly be like, because my wife is Hispanic, suddenly I care about Hispanics, which is also not good.
But better.
But better.
Better. So that was there for the whole movie for me. But once you got past that, it's funny that you say, I'm so glad that you're like, they had great chemistry, because in interviews more recently, Ralph Fiennes is a prestigious actor, right?
Yeah.
Dude's
great.
Voldemort,
Mhm.
dude's fucking, everybody knows who he
Yeah.
is. He's, what did he do? Shawshank Redemption, right?
Mhm.
No, not Shawshank Redemption.
No. Fuck.
The one with Nazis.
Ah!
Schindler's List. He was a Nazi in Schindler's
List. I heard Schindler's List screamed from another room.
Yeah.
Was
Oh, yeah. But when they asked him about this movie more recently, he responded with something to the effect of, sometimes you do a movie for the paycheck.
Well, you know what? He did a good job. I think he was likable. He was charismatic. I have nothing against any of the actors in this movie. I think the kid was adorable. I think all the friends were convincing as rom-com friends. I think J.Lo was really selling it. She sold the single mom thing well. She sold the likability factor, the intelligence.
The maid wanting to go to management but can't get there.
Wanting to hold her, like, you know, she was like a strong, independent woman. I really like felt that in the film. And I think Ralph Fiennes sold the like likable rich guy thing really well.
And it had so let's get to the conceit of the film. J.Lo is a maid in this big hotel. She's been there for years. She's got friends. She's thinking about management. And then you meet this awful guest. I guess she's not the fucking worst, but she's not great. The socialite, where she's like, please return these clothes for me.
She's kind of the worst.
She's almost the worst.
Like,
her friend is worse.
Her friend is the worst. Because
that's
the
the
same,
problem.
but with racism. Like, the main one is being racist, but she's not like being outwardly racist. The other one is being the same, but then also with the outward verbal racism.
You know what is?
Right.
Yeah, the main girl, the main socialite is racist, but she doesn't know why. She's not like thinking to herself, like she knows she's better than her, but she's not naming it. She's not saying these things out loud. She's totally racist. But the other one's like, oh, you're proud. I'm better. And she almost says it, which is honestly one of my favorite scenes when J.Lo was like, fuck you.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like the socialite, you get the vibe that she thinks she's better than everyone anyway, but like also brown people especially. But the other one was definitely like, I'm not above everyone, but I know I'm above brown people.
I think the movie did a good job of making the socialite like not a terrible person, right? Just like the crux of her job, the kind of people she has to deal with. Like, oh, got to do this shitty thing for this rich person. Like, at no point did it make her do, until she got her fired. She didn't do anything so egregious that I had to like hate the socialite or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or make like, you know, she was
annoying and cringy, and I think that she was like,
but in her head
to watch.
She was being super nice to the maid, and like she was kind of her friend. She in her head, she was like, I learned her name.
Did she learn her name? Because she kept calling her Maria. She kept calling her the wrong name. So
I forgot. Yeah. Right. So the conceit of the movie is she wanted to return some clothes, and her J.Lo and her friend were like, oh, you got to try it on. It's a $5,000 Dolce & Gabbana. And you're like, no. It's like, you got to do it. When can you ever do it? And then of course at that same time, the senator, soon-to-be senator, is walking his dog, and at the same time Ty is bored, so he goes upstairs, and they all converge at that same point. And of course Ralph Fiennes is like dead ass.
Oh, 100%. The fact that during the movie there were like jokes about her sitting on his face, and then she got the magazine stuck on her butt, and then he like had to go grab the magazine from her butt,
and he's like, everything's good back there.
Yeah, and they kept talking about her assets a lot, and I was like, okay, we get it. It's J.Lo. She's got a juicy dome.
It's of the time. 2002. That was the thing to talk about, bro.
Is it of the time? I mean, it's 2022, 20 years later, and we're still loving the donk. Don't get me wrong. I love
but now J.Lo's like monetizing that shit.
Yeah. Now she's not
fucking
like
saying big booty. Well, I got a big booty. Big booty. Well, I got that dude. Big
I don't like sexualizing J.Lo because she just reminds me of my mom. So I don't like to sexualize J.Lo.
She doesn't look anything like mine, so I'm okay.
She doesn't look like my mom at all. It's just that they grew up together, and there's the stories my mom would tell. It's just like And then this movie, her being a single mom too, I was like, oh,
it's so funny. For my mom just talked about her as like, wow, J.Lo's so cool.
Yeah.
Not your way. Yours is creepy. That is funny. So this is the meet cute of the movie. Marcus, what do you think? Here we go. I know you're like not hating it because you're like, I like J.Lo, I like the kid.
Yeah.
Maid. This is cool. I see like, she had to go in the back. They're saying something cool. Here's our meet cute moment, Marcus. Where you at? What you thinking?
It is unsustainable. It is one of the most stressful rom-com situations to be in, because a lot of times you meet it, it's like, oh, they can't maintain this predicament for that long. But this one, she had to pretend to be rich, pretend to be staying at the hotel, and pretend to own all this stuff. the fact that she was pretending to be rich alone was like a lot, because it's hard to pretend to be rich because you have to
Yeah.
actually own expensive things.
Yeah.
And it was so stressful because I was like, okay, she's gonna go out, she's gonna go hang out with this guy. Fine, it's gonna be a one-time thing. But she works there on top of everything. So
Yeah.
she's working where he's staying. So obviously they're gonna run into each other. It was so stressful.
Obviously.
I hated it.
The one thing I really, really love about it is the fact that Ty was involved from the get. He was there. He was involved.
Yeah.
Him liking the kid was the onset incident. And I know it's like, it's written that way to be like, oh, he liked the kid. This
Yeah.
must be true love. And I understand that.
Yeah.
But sometimes for me, that shit just works
It
because
works.
it's nice. Because you don't
works.
get it anywhere else.
100%.
Him liking the kid was the start of their relationship,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yeah, I feel like the kid was there the whole time in the relationship. I feel like even in movies where you have parents falling in love or a parent falling in love, it is like the kid is not there the whole time. The kid is maybe in one scene where like, oh yes, the kid approves of this person too, and then it moves on from there. But like,
Marcus, tell me how much of Friends have you watched?
all of it,
How much of Ross's son have you seen?
not that much from what I remember.
You know when he had that son?
When?
After the first season, bro.
Oh shit,
There were
really?
10 seasons.
I
all
remember
the way
like,
back at the
He
beginning.
was like 5 or 6 when you started seeing him more or something.
He was there the whole time, bro.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. But that's how he usually is, right?
Yeah,
but not
yeah.
this movie. Her son was right there. He was a main character. He was the reason he showed up in the first place, you know?
Yeah.
Because he wanted to walk the dog. He's like, sure, ask your mom. Let's go. Yeah. I love that. Love that so much. And the fact that he was there in the park going around and being cute. And he's like, oh, let's see the penguins. And they're like, oh, yeah, kid, let's go see the penguins. And then that's when they're all falling in love. And like,
It's really cute.
him taking... And like, I know it's contrived. I know it's like, oh, let me talk to you about giving speeches, kid, because I'm a senator and it's hard. And here's a paperclip
But it's
thing.
a fucking
and like, whatever.
rom-com.
It's fucking
When
cute.
you go and watch Fast and Furious, whatever, you know what you're getting into, right? You just want to see a good, fun movie. Or when you go see it's a genre film. It's a rom-com. You go watch a fucking rom-com movie. You want a rom-com.
Marcus, you're making it sound like you know like a lot about rom-coms, like what you can get out of them and the premises.
And whatever you're about to
like,
do, I'm going to say no.
Well, Marcus, let's see how it goes in the game. Roll the clip.
Now try this trivia. Now try this trivia. Now trivia. Now trivia. Now trivia this.
Okay. And we're back.
Marcus, this game is called J.Lo or Just Lo.
What the fuck?
I have here a list of 10 rom-coms,
Okay.
and I personally wrote the synopsis
Okay.
because I wrote all these synopsises as if J.Lo was in the movie. But Marcus, J.Lo's not in all these rom-coms. Sometimes other people are in rom-coms.
Okay.
So I have here 10 rom-coms. I will give you the synopsis. You have to tell me whether or not J.Lo is in the movie or J.Lo is not in the movie.
Okay.
For a bonus point, both ways if you can name the movie. And if you want a clue, I do have the Rotten Tomato percent
Okay.
to help you
That
out.
sounds great.
First one, and again, J.Lo is in all these synopses, okay?
Got it.
First one is, you know what they say, you don't need a man in your life. And that's just what J.Lo thinks, deciding to get artificially inseminated because she's had no luck with men. The real question is, what will J.Lo do when she meets the man of her dreams now that she's got a bun in the oven?
This is not J.Lo. This is Jennifer Aniston. No, this is Jennifer, the one from Friends. Which one's that?
That's Jennifer Aniston.
This is called Just Friends. No, this is called, is it called Just Friends? Let's go with Just Friends.
Marcus, I feel so bad because you're thinking of the rom-com between Jennifer Aniston and Jason Bateman called The Switch, where her best friend puts her cum
Yes,
into...
yes, that's what I'm thinking of.
Mhm.
Okay.
So this was J.Lo,
What?
and it was called The Backup Plan.
Okay.
To try to get 1 point out of it, can you tell me what the Rotten percent total was?
35.
17.
Whoa!
17%.
Okay.
Next up, J.Lo once again plays a maid, but this time she does not speak any English. And when she must live with her own daughter at the home of the family they clean for, it's no surprise tensions run high, as well as sparks between her and the chef dad.
Wait, what's the quicker version of that? Maid?
J.Lo plays a maid,
Okay.
moves in with the family, and she falls in love with the dad, but she doesn't speak any English.
No, I'm gonna say no, and that's Spanglish.
It is Spanglish.
Yeah!
Yes. Nice.
Hell yeah.
Fucking Adam Sandler joint.
Hell yeah.
Do you know the percent?
Oof. I've never seen it, but
Ooh, I have.
I don't know
love
if people
It's
like it, but I would
I liked
say 47.
it. It was a commercial and critical flop, but it's at 54%.
Okay, I was not that far off.
You were not that far off. Marcus, here's the next one. You ready?
Yes.
When J.Lo and a man first fight over the same pair of gloves, it's very clear they have chemistry. But after a wonderful night, she decides that if they are meant to be, they'll find each other again. And sure enough, 10 years later, and while planning a wedding no less, J.Lo finds her man.
I feel like this is a setup for me to think that this is the wedding planner. And you know what? I don't know what movie this possibly could be. So I'm just going to say, sure, it has J.Lo in it.
It does not have J.Lo.
Ah, damn.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. This
Can you
has.
guess what it is?
This is 27 dresses.
I try not to do any that popular because
okay.
that's too easy. This is named Serendipity.
You know what's so
It's
funny?
John Cusack and
I don't
Kate
know
Beckinsale.
any fucking rom-coms. So even 27 Dresses, I've never seen, and I don't know anything about.
Oh, I got to give you that movie too. I got to give you that movie. I got to give you Serendipity. It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
Okay.
Serendipity. I mean, it's fucking, John Cusack, Kate Beckinsale. It's great. Classic. Serendipity. 59% on Rotten Tomatoes. Next up, babies and motherhood are abound in this ensemble rom-com. And it's J.Lo who helps us see what motherhood is like through the lens of adoption. Daron is freaking out at you in the chat because she said, we have watched
we've
many
also
horror
watched
movies.
so many rom-coms, okay? They haven't been classic ones because Daron wants to watch the new ones. Or ones,
like shitty Hallmark and Netflix ones?
No, not shitty Hallmark or Netflix ones. We haven't watched 27 Dresses. You're right, we haven't. Daron, we can handle this
James
later,
Marsden.
okay? I'll watch anything. You know this.
No, we'll handle it now. Next challenge, 27 dresses. I'm on a kick.
Okay, pregnant women.
So,
I don't remember J.Lo ever being pregnant in a movie, but apparently she was because you just named
this
one
backup
earlier.
plan. Yeah, I just. Well, was she in more than one? That's the question.
I'm gonna say no.
Unfortunately, J.Lo is in this
God
movie.
damn it!
But do you know what the movie's called?
It's called
You're gonna recognize the name. The popular name.
Bump.
Well, it's 23% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
Cameron Diaz was in the movie, if that helps.
Nope, that's not help.
What to expect when you're expecting. It was based off the book.
I've definitely heard that title, but is that a movie based on like a
self-help book
child
kind of
book?
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. What to expect.
I hate that so much.
I mean, you made the money. So next up,
I guess they made a movie of The Secret, right? Didn't they do that?
I think so. Next up, we got almost like Hitch, but the complete opposite. Because J.Lo plays an expert who is hired to get middle-aged men to finally leave their parents' homes. Oops. But now she's really fallen in love with this one. What's a girl to do?
I'm gonna say that it doesn't have J.Lo in it.
It doesn't have J.Lo in it. Do you know what movie it is? If it helps, it also has Matthew McConaughey.
I know this one, but I forgot what it was called. Does it have Reese
It's-
Witherspoon as the love interest?
Nope, it's Sarah Jessica Parker and Matthew McConaughey.
I think we saw this. I saw this one.
You might also be confusing it with How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days with Kate Hudson.
No, it's not that one.
Okay, this is Failure to Launch.
Failure to Launch. God damn it. I knew that.
You saw it?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, Marcus. In this film, a husband keeps a secret from his wife and kids, and that secret is dance. Thankfully, he and J.Lo never kiss, and she actually helps him rekindle his passionless marriage.
Sure. Let's say that J.Lo's in the movie.
J.Lo is in the movie.
Okay.
Do you know what movie it is?
Bailando con el Gringo.
That was pretty good. It's 47%. Richard Gere is in it.
Bailando con el Gringo.
You know what's so funny? Sometimes I feel like it's a gross over-exaggeration that like you're the horror guy and I'm the rom-com guy because I watch horror and you watch rom-coms.
Yeah.
But then sometimes we get somewhere like this and I'm getting like the nitty and gritty of it.
Yeah.
And like I could have named this movie easy peasy.
Sure.
And you're like, never heard of it, don't know who this fucking people are, don't know what this is.
100%.
It's Shall We Dance?
These are all movies that I've seen on like the Blockbuster shelf.
That's what I've tried to pick. All the ones that are like tangentially in your orbit. not like
Yeah.
crazy Hallmark never heard of ones. All like you've heard of these.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
All right, next up, J.Lo is a movie star. Well, clearly, but she plays one in this movie where a crazy random happenstance helps her fall in love with a bookstore owner in Britain.
This isn't the
Your sin-
holiday,
your,
right?
Your
No.
sinciere contemplation. It's not the holiday.
This isn't
You've
music and
seen the
lyrics?
holiday.
You've
seen the holiday, right?
I've seen the holiday. Yeah.
Okay, it's one of my favorite films of
Yeah,
all time. I was just
yeah,
making sure.
Yeah. This isn't music and lyrics. I'm trying to think of British. Is Hugh Grant in it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
How funny.
I have no idea. I'm gonna say that
So
she is in it.
She's not.
Oh, God.
It's Julia Roberts, Marcus.
Oh, I don't know what movie this is.
Notting Hill. You almost got it this week.
Fuck, Notting Hill. God
That
damn
one
it.
has 83%.
Okay,
That's fucking great for a rom-com.
that is great for rom-com.
Next up, this henchwoman must help with a kidnapping. And while J.Lo might have almost ruined her career with this movie, she did find something more important. Love.
I'm gonna say that
you can ask me the
this
Rotten
is
Tomato, it might help.
True. This is J.Lo. This
It is
is
J.Lo.
Geely.
It
with
is
Ben
Geely.
Affleck. Yeah.
For a bonus point, can you tell me what the Rotten Tomato percent is?
1%.
6%.
Okay. Wow. Impressive.
All right. It isn't hard to fall in love with J.Lo, right? Well, except maybe if she's dead? Lucky for David, J.Lo is still haunting the apartment he moves into. Does she know she's dead? No. But does he fall in love with a ghost? Yes. Yes, he does.
This is not J.Lo.
It's not. Good
This
job.
is the other white woman I said earlier. What's her name? She's got like a flat face.
Oh, Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon.
She doesn't have a flat face.
Right? This is her? I feel like I just watched
Yes,
this
it is.
movie. But she wasn't
Mark
actually dead.
Ruffalo
She
is
was in
also
a
in it.
coma. Darren just said we didn't watch rom-com. We just watched this one. Darren, what's
Let's
the name
name
of this
it.
movie? Why are you forgetting?
You had one job, Darren.
Wow.
All right, no points. It's just like heaven.
Just like heaven. Just like heaven.
No points. No points. No points. Marcus, have you ever seen When Harry Met Sally?
I haven't seen When Harry Met Sally. I don't watch rom-coms. I didn't grow up on
No,
rom-coms.
yeah, Old Man Rom, the conceit of the show. I will give Marcus rom-com slowly but surely, and slowly but surely he'll give me horror movies.
Yeah, 100%.
When Harry Met Sally, Notting Hill, these are on my 27 Dresses. They're
I watch
on my
so
list.
many movies, and rom-coms are like this well of like emptiness, and I do not know anything. I do not. You name actors who are like famous for being in rom-coms. I'm like, who the fuck is that guy?
Marcus, there's one left. Technically, the only way to win is to know whether J.Lo was in it, name the movie, and name the Rotten Tomato
Okay.
percent.
Uh-huh.
So we'll try.
Got it.
Here's the synopsis. Some might say this is too close to Maid in Manhattan, but J.Lo is a grocery store clerk with aspirations of becoming a manager. But instead of a man pushing her, she goes to find a new career and gives herself a second chance. Marcus, is this a J.Lo film?
I'm gonna say no.
Ugh, it is.
Ah,
It sure is. I made this too hard. I thought it
is
was
this
easy.
made in Ohio?
No, it's called Second Act. It only came out like 4 years ago. Vanessa Hudgens was in it.
Oh wow.
Milo Ventimiglia
Oh,
was
yeah,
the love
yeah,
interest.
yeah.
Leah Rime Rhymes was
oh
her
yeah,
best friend.
for sure.
See, I told you all these movies are like in your like
No,
orbit.
100%. I don't think you made this too hard. I think I just have a lacking of knowledge when it comes to rom-coms.
6 ain't bad. 6 ain't bad for you.
Six
Six
not
ain't
bad.
bad.
6 not bad.
If you did,
I'm
I give
proud
you
of
B.
6.
I give you B romance movies. You gave me B horror movies. I would do about 6.
Yep.
I would do
agree.
about 6. Good
Mhm.
job. All this really means to me, though, is I guess we gotta watch more J.Lo and more rom-coms. Old Man Rom, When Harry Met Sally. It's coming your way in the next couple months.
I guess we gotta
27
do it.
Dresses. Here we go.
I gotta
27 Dresses is a great one.
Everyone
27
loves
Dresses
that
is a
movie.
quintessential.
I'm somehow
It's so bad,
dodged
man.
it.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Mhm.
They're all bad. That's why I love them. That's
Yeah.
why you love the horror movies. They're bad. That's why you
They're
love them.
bad. You love them. It's fine. It's a
Yeah.
comfort film. That's okay.
Yeah. All right, back to the film.
Uh-huh.
Marcus, now they have meet cuted and they are on their whirlwind romance, and you got hijinks ensue with Marissa having to still work at the hotel and him still being there. And
Before we continue, I do
Yes.
have one thing I wanted to say. It was
you
weird.
can say as many things as you want.
and I don't know if this is racist or not, but it was
What?
hard to find the movie because it was only in Spanish. So like it's streaming, the only place it's streaming is on Hulu if you have premium or on HBO Max. But when you go to HBO Max, it's under 2 different Spanish titles. The movie plays in English, but it is under 2 different Spanish titles. One
This is correct,
is
yes.
Sueño de Amor, and the
Yeah.
other one is Encanto de Amor. And it's like,
Which both are wrong.
both are wrong. Neither means Made in Manhattan. One is
Yes.
Dream of Love, and the other one is Meeting of Love. And it doesn't make sense.
I
Where
don't
did
know
they
why
get
it was like
those
that.
from?
I have no idea. When I was just glad I was able to watch it for free. I was gonna rent
Same,
it or
100%.
pull out an old DVD player.
Yeah.
But because I have it on DVD.
Yeah, I was like, I need to pay for this movie. I am so angry at Nick.
But no, it's on HBO, but you have to realize that it has a wrong title. I don't know why it's like that. It's super
And
racist.
just because
I
it's
don't know.
in Spanish, it has English. It plays in English. The default is English.
Yeah, yep.
I don't know what the fuck the deal is.
It
It's
must
not a
have
Hispanic
gotten-
movie.
It must. Well, J.Lo's in it. She's Hispanic.
Nothing
so that makes
about
a
it
Hispanic
is
movie.
Hispanic.
Marcus, that's not. Have you, Marcus? Hold on. Have you never gone to Amazon or Netflix or anything? All you need to do is have someone of color, and then your movie gets promoted for Black History Month, and
Yes,
Hispanic
that is
History
true.
Month, and Women's
is true.
History Month. All you, it's just like,
That's
oh,
true.
I fucking, I was so infuriated. I forgot this past Black History Month when I was looking on Amazon Prime. So one of the movies under it was like not a film about being black. It was not a film celebrating the culture.
Was it
It was
Fast and
just-
Furious?
no, it wasn't that bad. But it was like so not a black film
Uh-huh.
in like connotation or the denotation. It was like not in the politically correct or incorrect. It just had black people in it.
That is I've heard people say I don't want to see that because it's a black movie when it's just a movie with black people in it, and it is
To be fair, I've
annoying.
never heard anyone blatantly say that in
Or
front of
people
me.
fucking online complaining about how woke a movie is, and you're like, oh, it has minorities in it. That doesn't mean it's woke.
Yeah, it's happening right now with Percy Jackson, where one of the girls got cast as black. and
Yes,
everyone's freaking out,
100%. Yeah,
and I'm like, why? Why?
it's so crazy.
That's wild.
It's absolutely
That is
wild.
wild. How do you think they're gonna? How do you think the public's gonna freak out when Michael B. Jordan makes that Superman movie?
I don't know, and honestly, I don't care. I think people are fucked up and stupid and racist, and it's annoying as shit. And it would be nice if this movie said "Made in Manhattan" as the title.
I was looking on Amazon Prime right now, and it's not as bad as it was during Black History Month, but there's still a lot of. There's a category for black voices, for black cinema, black
Uh-huh.
lead, amplify black voices. But at a peripheral just glance, they're like about black people. It's not as.
Okay, that's good.
I don't know if Eddie Murphy's film 1,000 Words is a movie to promote black voices. Though.
At least it's not the Nutty Professor.
Somehow that would be worse. You're right. Somehow that would be worse.
I feel
You're
like
correct.
I have seen. It's not this bad, but it'll be like, oh, Shrek promote black voices because Eddie Murphy's in it as the donkey or something. You're like, that's
boy.
not okay.
That's not quite right. That is not
But companies will do that shit
what we're trying to do here.
anyway.
But I agree with you. That's you know what it probably was. This probably was during like Hispanic History Month was when they added it, why they added it,
Uh-huh.
and it's just like got under that. Why am I explaining? They're racist. Yes.
Great. Yes. Okay. Now we continue. Yeah. So the love interest, the guy, I forgot his name, thinks that she is
Chris.
Okay. Chris thinks that she is this rich lady named Caroline. Okay. And then she has to keep up this elaborate ruse. He's sending her notes. He sends her an invitation to this fancy ball, and it doesn't get to
Before
her.
that, they send the invitation to the lunch, which is just lunch.
Yeah.
Which
then
is just at his
Caroline ends up actually going, the person whose clothes she was wearing, whose name she was using. And so the guy's like, that's not who this is supposed to be. And she's like, oh my God, you remembered me from the thing. And obviously he did not remember her. And it was very funny.
It was wild because he just didn't say anything. He
Yes.
it was so politician-y, it felt like, because he just didn't want to say, because you and me were just like, I don't know who you are. What's happening here?
100%.
Is this a prank? Am I
get
being
out.
punked?
Yeah,
Who's
yeah,
fucking
just
with
get
me?
out.
Get
I'm
the
not
fuck
going
out.
to play along.
He had the whole lunch.
100%. You know what's so funny? I'm not going to pretend. like I didn't like this movie. I like this movie a lot. I thought it was a great movie. But it's crazy to me watching this movie. The fact that it has like such a low score on Rotten Tomatoes was like insane. Like 38%. I've watched like big budget movies with higher scores that were significantly worse than this film.
Yeah.
And I don't understand what's going on there. It's very
I
strange.
don't know. I think you and I, though, are the kind of people who accept the movie where it's at. This movie is trying to do one thing and it does it well, and that's it. And we're like, you did the thing. Good job, movie. Carry
Yeah.
on. Some people aren't like that. They're probably like, well, it should have said more about this, or this should have happened here, or blah, 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 blah. To be fair, I feel like the movie, it could have probably used the B storyline if we're being super critical.
Yeah.
Because they're really, I guess the B storyline would be like the manager thing.
Yeah.
But like usually in a rom-com, which usually makes it worse, is there would be another thing going on.
Mhm.
But there wasn't anything else going on.
I feel like
It
in
was
this one
just
you
the
had the
romance.
relationship with her son as sort of like a secondary thing that was also important.
I guess, but there wasn't a lot. We didn't do a
there
lot
wasn't a lot
with it.
there.
They just had a good relationship.
I will, you know what? It might be a white male dominated critics are a lot of white males usually,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
especially at the time, and I imagine it's probably not helpful. Hold on, I pulled up an IMDb review. I mean,
Oh please.
a Rotten Tomatoes review.
Uh-huh.
This one says, this is a critic one, not an audience one.
Okay.
For the chicks who like chick flicks, this will be a great film.
Is that a professional one?
It's a professional one from Fat Guy at the
Oh my
Movies.
God. That's so funny. The Empire said the film constantly falls back on its staple fairy tale plotline, which is so resolutely traditional. It should succeed in charming its target audience. I mean, it's like a backhanded slap, but it's not that bad. Oh, this person said the script is so lazy it snores.
The rags to
And
riches.
Wayne-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
The rags to riches plot should keep the hopeless romantics happy, but you just can't help wondering what Hugh Grant, Sandra Bullock, and a team of decent joke writers might have achieved with this one.
Wait, hold on. Did they just say this movie would have been better with a white woman?
This review by Anna Smith of Empire Magazine says,
That's the one I started to read. That was the same person that I read. Yeah.
says, replace the minorities with white people and you would have had a great movie.
Ooh, Anna Smith. That did not age good. You suck. You suck. But oddly enough, Roger Ebert, he said the film is a skillful, glossy formula picture given life by the appeal of its stars.
Wow.
And that is accurate. That is why it's a good film.
accurate. That is an accurate.
That was
that is how I
100%.
feel about it.
Wow.
It's a fun, solid rom-com. It's a
Yeah.
yes, it is not the best movie in the world, but it is a rom-com. You're going in there for a rom-com, and it's a good rom-com.
Ooh, J.Lo did get nominated for a Razzie though.
For this movie?
Yeah, Golden Raspberry Award.
No, what
2003.
was going on at the time? This movie's
But
great.
at the same time, they got a Teen Choice Award as well.
This movie's great. Like, I'm not gonna fucking hide it. This movie is just really well made.
It sounds like you liked it even more than I did. I fucking love it. You know what I really loved? One of the scenes I really love. I love the pretty woman moment when she's like got all her friends to help her make herself up for the ball.
Yeah,
like
it was
she
really
went
nice. That was
here
cute.
and we saw the person from the background taking care of Ty later, the fashion person
Yeah.
helping her there, this person helping her there, this person helping there. I love when good people are friends with good people in a movie. Like everyone is
Yes.
helping. Like it's so community, right? Like
Yeah.
it feels the city feels so big. The movies feel so convoluted sometimes. This one's like, no, J.Lo has a circle of friends around her because she's a good person.
Yes.
You know,
I
from the
agree.
butler to the camera guy to everyone's just on her side.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that a lot.
Oh my god, the movie suffers from a lack of chemistry.
I mean, there's
I-
not a lot with them at the
I
same
thought
time.
they had chemistry. I felt like you're right. There's not a lot with them at the same time, but
Yeah.
any scene they were together, I felt like they genuinely really liked each other. It wasn't chemistry where it was like, I want to watch them fuck, or like,
Yeah.
oh man, they need to be kissing right now because it's like you have that moment. But I felt
Sure.
like they cared about one another and they respected each other, which is better for me in a rom-com.
Yeah.
than wanting
Yeah,
to see them
I
fuck.
felt at the very least, it felt like the sweepingness of the money and the acclaim and all that was sweeping up J.Lo, and like the getting a chance to like slow down and talk to a real person is why Chris was like enthralled. Like
Uh-huh.
that
Yeah,
worked
yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Like that's totally why, is that enough for them to have a relationship? I don't fucking know.
I
But
mean,
that's not what a rom-com's
we
about.
decided earlier their relationship wouldn't work unless one of them changed their political views drastically.
In fucking Wedding Planner, he likes her because she eats brown M&Ms. So this is fine. Like,
Yeah.
dude likes her fucking son and listens to her when she says the things that are politically different than he does, and he's like, wow, let me actually listen to you. That seems great. That
Yeah,
sounds
100%.
super progressive and awesome.
I loved it.
know,
It was great.
Yeah.
They had a great dynamic in a relationship, and there's definitely things they need to work out before they get married.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
I will say it was oddly, the movie was, I was watching the movie and it was honestly firing in all cylinders for me. I was enjoying it. Then Lexi had to go to bed, so I had to finish it the next day by myself. But then when I finished the next day, I was like, oh, that was it. So from the ball, I feel like maybe rom-coms have like spoiled me, but I feel like I wanted more to happen at the ball. I was like, I wanted like a big blow up. I wanted like fucking big old.
It wasn't a big
like if
moment.
this is Cinderella, like drop her shoe. Where's the carriage? I don't know. It was it was like I gotta leave, and then she left, and he's like and they fuck. It was like easy.
I guess
it was
the
so
fucking
easy.
was the big moment.
I suppose so. And then she left and went downstairs to work.
I
But then
guess
she
you're
like
right.
left her necklace on for a second. So then I thought there'd be hijinks with the necklace.
Yeah.
Or like, and then there wasn't any.
I like. There was enough hijinks in the movie. It stressed me out. She lost her job. She was like trying to become manager. She lost that whole thing because of him. Her mom was disappointed in her. There was this whole like plot of like, okay, you're dating this rich white man who's famous and stuff
let's
like
go
that.
back.
Like,
Let's go back there. Let's go back there because that was a real scene in the fucking movie.
Yeah.
So she loses her job and her mom's like, you're a fucking idiot. I'll give you the lady so you can go clean a house. And she's like, I don't want to clean a house. And the mom's like, don't be a fucking idiot. You got to clean the house to pay the bills. And it was so like a old generation, new generation scene that it like felt like it was great. I loved it. It felt like it didn't even belong in this movie because it was so good. I was like, this seems like the ultimate moment that we've been building up for like the whole film, but it was like this rom-com-y thing, and it's like, oh, let's just talk about like generational grief really quick right here, and like, and I was just like, holy shit,
100%. I feel I was gonna say, I feel like the movie, the parts that weren't dealing with romance was the fakest part of the whole movie. But like the parts that were just Jennifer Lopez being a single mom, dealing with being Hispanic and like what that means, and having to be like first generation in this country, like all that stuff felt fucking real.
You fucking love this movie.
Real. I loved it.
You fucking love this movie. Holy shit. You fucking loved Maid in Manhattan. Holy shit. What's happening right now? Who are you?
I loved Maid in Manhattan.
Whoa. You fucking go buy a house in the burbs with your fucking girl and start thinking about the future, and you get a fucking big old softie in you.
100%. Yeah.
You're changing, man.
I'm changing.
You're changing.
I'm gonna give you Texas Chainsaw Massacre next, so I can undo all of this.
But that conversation she was at, I loved my grandma. I love my grandma so much. You know this. I grew up with her. My mom would cart me off to her every weekend. I spent weekends with my grandmother. I took care of her when she had cancer. It's a huge influential part of me. But my grandma was an asshole to my mom. This kind of asshole. She was never good enough. She never made the right choices. Everything she said couldn't do. I was the golden baby. Everything was for me. I could never do no wrong. I remember one time I had like a rash and I wouldn't tell my mom because I was embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
Because I had like psoriasis or eczema. We never figured out what it was. Eventually I outgrew it, but it was real bad. I had to quit Little League because it was all up in me. Yeah, it was real bad. And it came and went. And one of my big spouts of it, I didn't want to tell my mom. I felt so bad about it. I was embarrassed. My grandma found it. And I remember hearing my grandmother tell my mother how awful of a mother she was. And she fucking went in. And I remember my mom just crying and me being like, oh, fuck. So like that's the way the mom talks to J.Lo in this movie. I was like, that sounds right to me. That fucking sounds right to me. I fucking came to this island for you, and this is the shit you do. Go fucking work. Like you go and work like they tell you to, and that's still not good enough.
100%.
And then you try to do more, and then it's like, why are you trying to do more?
It's never good enough.
It's never, no matter what way
you do, not good enough. Yeah.
So that was real good. That was really, really good. And you're right. There was all these moments in this movie where it's just like, fuck, this is like what's fucking going on here? Like,
Yep.
it's fucking great. And the way J.Lo bites back is like, I am gonna fucking find another job, and I am gonna be a fucking manager, and no matter what you fucking say, fuck you. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, J.Lo.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
It's funny. The
how
whole
many more
movie
movies
is
have
like
been made like this?
not a lot. The
Not a
whole
lot.
movie, actually, the theme of this movie, it's a rom-com, so all that's there, but the theme of the movie about J.Lo starting off as this quiet maid who is like has to be behind the scenes and not talk to anyone, and in the course of the movie finding her voice and
Mhm.
being able to stand up for herself, and by the end, being a manager, being worthy of love. It really worked for me.
Mhm.
And J.Lo pulled it off because whatever J.Lo did in this movie, her natural charisma makes you believe in her.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the movie, when she's not able to do it and she plays it well, you believe that she can.
Yep.
And when she gets there, you're like, yeah, J.Lo.
100%. Yeah. I feel like in romantic movies, we have an overabundance of like white women or like fat guys getting a hot girl. And we just, we need different stuff. We need more crazy rich Asians. We need more Maid in Manhattans. We need something. And it's not great she's a maid, but you know what? That's fucking real. Okay? That's fucking realistic.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, is it a trope? Is it a stereotype? 100%. But like, J.Lo isn't a fucking idiot. J.Lo's one of the biggest stars in the world, and she's like, no, I'm gonna take this fucking trope back. I'm gonna be the fucking maid, and I'm gonna show you that I got something to say and I'm worthy of love.
Exactly.
J.Lo at this point, she didn't need to be a maid in a movie. She
was famous.
This is after The Wedding Planner. She already did her like rom-com thing. She could have been like she could have been a socialite in a movie. Like she didn't have to, and she does it again and again, like in Second Action when she's a grocery store. I understand why people are like, oh, you're playing up you're from the block thing to like be, but here's the thing, and here's why I believe it. J.Lo is a fucking movie star. She is fucking bank. She is amazing. But when you listen to her in interviews and everyday talking, and she could get rid of her inflection, she still talks like how she talks. She still is like it seems like it. Who fucking really knows? But she could be an awful fucking person. I don't fucking know.
Maybe
so
she
hard.
could be. Yeah,
I feel like every time I start having these conversations with
you're
Lexi,
like, I love
she's
them.
like,
They're so good.
she's
And
like,
you're like,
oh, you didn't know that she's a horrible mother to her kids, and I'm like, oh, why would you? Fuck.
Yep.
No, let me think she's amazing.
Yep.
But it really worked for me. She's a great lead, and now you've been exposed to like premiere J.Lo rom-com. Now we gotta like get you some of these other ones, because man, some of them suck, but J.Lo's always good. What?
She's good. I like her. She's very likable and charismatic.
She's very likable. She's from the block,
She's from the block.
But Marcus, I think that's all the events of the movie, really. And then the last moment we'll just get to it is some time passes. She's in a hotel again, and then Chris is giving a conference at her new hotel, and it's funny because usually the moment of Notting Hill or When Harry Met Sally is the big speech, or the Jerry Maguire, you had me at hello. It's the guy or the girl, the one they come running back, give the big speech, Ty gives the speech.
Oh wow.
And I love that. I love that Ty went to the conference and Ty gave the big rom-com speech of, is it okay if people made a mistake? Don't we have to forgive them? And Chris is just like, yes. Then they have the cute paperclip moment, and then they run down the hall, and then they kiss, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But that was nice.
That's nice. That's pretty nice.
It had all the rom-com tropey things, but it tried to play with it at least a little bit, And, Ty giving that speech, that was different. You usually don't see that,
Yeah. I looked up more about Castle Hill, where the block is. Specifically, the incarceration rate of 603 per 100,000 people is higher than that of the city as a whole.
Wait, say that one more time. What?
The incarceration rate. They arrest a lot of people from there. Doesn't mean they did a lot of crimes. I want to be specific. Shit. They arrest a lot of people there. There are a lot of crimes happening there.
You know what? Hilary Swank was originally set to be in this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
John
Hughes was originally supposed to direct it.
Oh, that would have been terrible. That would have been a bad movie.
It would have been fine. It would have just been another rom-com.
Hilary Swank being a maid? That's not believable.
She could be a maid. We watched PS I Love You. Be a maid? Yeah. What do you think Hilary Swank? Do you know Hilary Swank? What we're talking about?
I'm gonna look up Hilary Swank.
PS Swank. I Love You.
Yeah. You think that woman does hard labor?
She did as a kid. She was a karate kid.
Karate is not hard labor. Also, you need money to afford karate lessons.
You are insulting everyone who has ever taken karate.
I'll kick anyone's ass who took karate.
Daron, I do like that moment when the abuela says, "That's my daughter tongue kissing a senatorial candidate." I like that. That's Daron. That's exactly what the abuela would do. She would fucking piss on all her choices, tell her she's wrong, she's not worthy of love.
But then when she makes
and then be like, "That's my daughter. See her right there. I told her. That's how I taught her to kiss. That's how I did it.
That's true. That's right there. That is very true.
So true.
That is true.
Yep.
Shit on you your whole life, and then when you succeed, that's because that's my kid. That's my kid. I love him. It's like, fuck you, man.
It's very I very much wonder what it's gonna be like if I ever get any kind of fame, if my father like finds himself like to come out of the woodwork
100%
and like show up to an event 100%. Or something.
No, 100%.
And be like, I'm so proud of you. And I'm gonna like have to be in this interview and like fucking call him out and be like, get the fuck out of here. You didn't do shit. Get my mom on stage. She did everything. Fuck you.
Yeah, 100%. God.
Marcus, is there anything else from this movie you would like to talk about?
Oh man. No, I think we talked about it. I'm glad we talked about the fact that like other than the rom-com stuff, I feel like the Jennifer Lopez character felt real and felt fleshed out as a character.
Feels great.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Marcus, got some questions for you. Marcus, did you like this film, Made in Manhattan?
Nick, I did like this film, Made in Manhattan. It was good.
Hell yeah. It is. It's just so fucking love. It's just J.Lo. It's just J.Lo. Just I fucking
love.
Don't do anything.
It's great. It's just love. I love it.
This is great. This is great. Marcus, would you recommend this film?
I would 100% recommend this film. I think if you like rom-coms, you should watch it. If you are, even if you don't like rom-coms, I would say give it a shot. Give it a shot.
Marcus, I was so ready to fight you. I don't know if I have any movies left that I have to fight you. Like even the Bratz movie, you were like on board with like fun hating it with me. Like there's no more movies I have left.
If you genuinely liked the Bratz movie, then we would have fought because it was a bad movie. Sure. But you hated
it's an awful movie.
You hated it all, so you knew it was a bad movie. Yeah. You liked it. It's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I don't think I have any left. I'm running out of like barn burner bad movies that I like. I don't know if I have any American Malls left.
Wow.
I'm looking.
Well, that's why we have the Patreon. We'll have fans to make bad movies for us. And
we
also,
need the fans to
Spooky Boys Month. I give you a lot of dog shit that month.
That's for me to hate for you.
That's fair.
Yeah, I need to find some movies you're gonna hate. I thought you might hate this one. You didn't. Your cold heart is melting by the day in fucking the burbs. Marcus, last question: are you gonna watch more J.Lo rom-coms?
I think that would be a tough sell. Unless they all had to do with her being a Hispanic single mom, which is really like mainly why I like this movie, if I'm being honest. Otherwise, it was just a rom-com. If it had a different person in it, it would just be a regular rom-com that I would not give a shit about.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You might like second act.
Maybe.
One with Vanessa Hudgens.
But I'm going to say Jennifer Lopez rom-coms are going to continue to be a hard sell until I see more that prove otherwise.
Your next 3 challenges are going to be J.Lo rom-coms, the 3 best ones. And then you're just going to, by the 3rd one, you're like, you know what? Fuck. Okay, fine. Fuck. I like them. Okay, I like them all. All right, Marcus, that's the fucking show.
That's the fucking show. Woo! Guys, we don't know what our challenge is next week because Patreon. So go over to our Patreon. Join the Patreon. If you haven't already, remember to re-up your Amazon Prime subscription on Twitch. It helps us out a lot. It is a free way to help us keep the podcast going.
And guys, you can get us everywhere at Now Try This Cast on Instagram and Twitter. Join the conversation at patreon.com/NowTryThisCast. Give us your suggestions on Patreon, and then also follow us on twitch.tv/NowTryThisCast, where you can subscribe for free with your primes. And guys, if you can't do that, if you have no money, if you have no time, but you have time to listen to this show, that would be weird. I do ask that you just take 1 minute, give us 5 stars on Spotify or iTunes. Thank you so much. We will see you next week.
Woo! Also like our content on the socials. Join our socials. We post when we're doing shows. We post clips. It's fun. Join us. Thank you for watching, everybody. You rock. You're the best listeners. You're the best fans of any podcast out there. And remember to go out there and try some things.
Good night.
Good night.
Friends get together so they can try things. You're about it, it's podcast so that you can try things.
Okay, I was trying to see if what happens if I turn away the lights.
You look better.
Okay.
Immediately.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You immediately look significantly better. You're
Now
a little washed.
I'm
but,
like
you don't look
yellow.
like you're from heaven.
But I want to
You're-
look like
it's-
I'm from heaven.
It's a little flat. Okay, well then look like you're in heaven.
Because I have
You
now.
live your
Now
best
all
life.
I have is one light on me.
Is your headlight on? The one in the
Yeah,
room?
that's it. That's the only light that's on.
Oh, is it fluorescent or is that why you look yellow?
Yeah, it's yellow. It's a yellow light.
Oh,
I did it because
get
I
a-
was like, the other lights won't be yellow, so it'll be a nice backlight. But now it's the only light on, so I'm very yellow.
I think you just gotta get a different bulb in there. Get a bulb that you can change the hues. You can change it wherever you need to balance it to. That's smart. That's what you should do.
Those don't work on this. It's a complicated situation. Basically, this room doesn't have a light bulb place. It doesn't have a place to put a light bulb in it. So I've had to, I'll show you. I've had to connect this outlet thing here. So the light is there. It goes up the wall to the ceiling. Then it's hanging there. But because of the way it's situated, it's like it can only hold certain lights. So it can't fit a smart light doesn't work in there for some reason.
Marcus, somehow I feel like you did this the smartest way you could and also not. So I believe in you. I think you'll figure this out week to week. It's a ever growing
Hey,
process.
I look better than last week, and next week I'll look better than this week.
Yeah, 100%. Marcus,